who is FFL not for? I mean, for anyone watching this, who is this not for? You shouldn't even
I
come.
was doing MLM, and that's when I started to develop the mindset, reading books.
What about agents maybe that are crushing in health? You know, we got a lot of them. They don't even know that this world exists.
I'm like, yo, do these people really make money? She's like, I ain't gonna lie, like they can make a lot of money for sure. So I was doing well, but I had a team full of people that were not.
Have you ever wanted to quit FFL?
I was literally on my way out. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't want to hear nothing y'all got to say. I'm going to a different company.
What is it about the round two that you said, you know what? Let's go.
But he gave me the vision of the future.
The environment you've created on the Zoom, how is it? How did you create that?
The people that are not, get off the Zoom. You're just a poison. So as long as you're willing to show up and do the things that you say you're going to do, be coachable, be fun, right? Like, this is a fun environment. This business sucks. It's not easy. But when you're around the right people that enjoy being around each other, it makes it a lot better.
Mac, thank you for joining us today. We have a special guest. Let me get right into it. You know, I always think about the Titanic. The Titanic was sunk by a little iceberg. People didn't really know what was going on, and that's what we got going today. We have an iceberg that's sinking records, right? So our job today is to excavate that. And here's what's cool about this. Most people that do incredible things in the contemporaries, the people that were doing it, if you were to ask them, all they were doing was their job. All they were doing was something normal. Now, fast forward, we're like, wow, they did incredible things. I love the humility. So appreciate you, AJ, for joining us. We're going to get right into it so that people know who we're talking to. Just the kind of person we're talking to is a person that's only been around about 2 years, helping about 800 families a month as an agency, right? Came in the game, helped 70 plus families. So don't let the cool look fool you. We got an assassin in the midst, okay? Let me kind of get to it straight, AJ. You've been on so many podcasts. And there's so much information out there. Today, there's information overload, okay? Right. So for those folks that are getting in on this, the goal is not for you just to see another podcast. The goal really for y'all, if you're doing this right, is for you to have an experience, okay? So just so you know what you could experience, we're to set the stage. We want to know who this person is, how he got here. We'll create a climax, right? You'll kind of get to the nitty gritty of what's happening. And then we're going to hit you with a plethora of questions because people want to know really who you are and how awesome a company do we have where we can actually have the opportunity to rub shoulders with the greats. And I know, hey, he's so humble, he's not going to say it, but listen, we're talking to the greats here, which is pretty cool. So AJ, tell us this. Where did you come from? How did you get here?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in a small city in Alabama. Really wasn't much going on. Played sports. That's what kept me out of trouble. I've always been very outgoing, very class clown. I just want to make people laugh, have a good time. I've always been like that since I was little. I was a middle child, so I guess I seeked a little attention. So that's how I got it, right? So I always excelled at sports, though. My dad, he played basketball. My mom played volleyball, so I come from athletes. So my whole life I played sports. That's really all I knew. Played high school, did great. Went Division I, played basketball freshman year before I even got to really get started, tore my Achilles, and that was all she wrote. So at that point, I was kind of confused. I really didn't know where I was going to go from there. All I knew was sports, but I knew at Division I, you get hurt like that freshman year, really didn't even get to start. You was going to get replaced quick. So my first goal was obviously recover, train, get back right, but you get replaced like that. So And that's a hard injury to come back from. So I was, 16 hours away from my family, friends, up in New York, cold, freezing, nothing like how I grew up. So I just kind of put my head down, finished school over the next few years. and then just jumped into the workspace. Met my wife. We were young, grew up in the South. In the South, I guess it's not unusual to get married at a very young age. So I was 21, she was 19.
That's young.
Um,
And
yeah,
real quick, Age, let me back you up. I remember you went to school in Syracuse.
yeah,
Playing basketball. I mean, were you pretty good, or
yeah.
were you kind of? So you were something.
Yeah, I was pretty good. I mean, I don't know if I would have made it to the NBA or not. I'm 6'2". So NBA is all about timing. My goal was never really actually to even go to the NBA though. I just really wanted to make money for my family so I could pay my parents back for everything they had done for me. So that meant I had to go overseas, I was okay with that. The NBA really isn't all this made out to be anyway. It's a
Mm-hmm.
business at the end of the day. So I wasn't like a superstar. Who knows what I would have became? I don't know. But at that time, I wasn't like a superstar or anything
Sure.
like that. I didn't get
Sure.
offers from Duke and Kentucky, but I did get some offers. And Syracuse is a big school, big
Let's
basketball
go.
school.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Let me ask you
so
this, if you don't mind.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
background's a little similar. I came from Africa, and again, I thought sports was my way out. I mean, I wanted to
Yeah,
make money, go pro to help my mom out, who was the
yeah,
only one at the time fending for us. You
hmm
had this season-ending, career-ending injury.
yeah.
Now, for any of y'all who's never played sports, when you've been working your whole life for one sport to make it somewhere, that kind of injury can set a lot of people back mentally.
Yeah.
So you get hurt, you just finished school. I mean, how did you come to terms with that? That it was almost over.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't at first, right? Like that's the first time I ever felt what depression was. I didn't even know what that was up until that point. I was 18, 19 years old, sitting in a dorm room in snow, cold, freezing. Like it was the complete opposite of the AJ that people know and that I've always been. So it took a lot, but just talking with loved ones and people that are close to you and care about you, they assure you like, look, you're young, you got a lot of life to live. Just do what you got to do to just pick it back up. But ultimately, I knew sports for the most part were over, so I just had to figure life out from that point.
Move forward. Now, for
Yeah,
me, I had something similar, season-ending injury. You have to reinvent yourself.
for
Now,
sure.
AJ, some folks come into this game, they have never really had a setback. You're
Yeah,
seeing someone who, because of life experiences, there are people that are 50 years old, but the sad thing is they've relived the same years for 30 plus years. He was
right.
able to advance that quick. For folks who have never had a setback and they come into this game, telesales, in-home, entrepreneurship, and they get hit, what do you have to say to those folks compared to the people like yourself who is almost advanced time by getting ahead with setbacks?
It's tough, right? Like I think having the experience. I mean, the way just growing up, you have tons of adversity. Growing up in the South, growing up in Alabama, looking the way I look, acting the way I act. I just grew up around tons of adversity, tons of uncomfortability, times where you just put your head down, keep working. Like that's all I've ever known. But my dad set that standard for us at a very early age. Put your head down and just keep working. So I think even like right now, I box, right? And it's one of the hardest sports you can do. I think it's the hardest sport you can do. But I just remind myself while I'm training, it's hard. I'm not gonna die. Like at the end of the day, if I just keep pushing, it's gonna suck, but it's gonna get me that much closer to where I want to go. So anytime I face any type of adversity, that's just kind of my mindset. And at that point, I knew, all right, well, basketball is not gonna get me necessarily where I want to go, but I can either stop now and just be a bum, or I know something is greater for me. And my goal still didn't change. My goal was never to be a Hall of Fame basketball player. My goal was to be able to get freedom financially and be able to help my parents to where I could retire my dad early. So the goal didn't change. Just the vehicle to get me there was just gonna have to change. So that was just kind of my mindset after a couple of days, couple of weeks of going through it. But I would say that, when it comes down to adversity, if you never faced it before, you never dealt with it before, uh, you know, things are gonna happen. Then it's out of control. Like you can't control if something happens or not. But what you can control is how you react when that situation occurs. And once that happens, if you're mentally prepared for, look, no matter what happens to me, I got goals and I got a big why, and I'm gonna keep pushing no matter what. that's how you keep going. And the people that are successful aren't people that have never dealt with anything. It's the people that deal with the stuff, but they keep pushing forward and they don't give up. They don't quit. That's the most successful people I know. So knowing that, seeing that, being around people like that, that just keeps me pushing. And that's what I would recommend for anybody that, you know, hasn't faced adversity or whatever the case may be.
For some folks, they were born in a Ferrari. They don't know that they were born in a Ferrari called FFL. So they don't know. Most millionaires, and this is fact, they did it on their third deal, right? Whereas you have a chance to do it on your first deal, but success will require the same price of setbacks, right? So it's no different here, but look at him. He had that opportunity early. I'm going to throw some hot questions at you early. So, and then we're going to get the nitty gritty. Someone's asking, okay, what were some things that you did to overcome the limiting beliefs going into full telesales? Or did you always go into telesales?
Yeah, I mean, I started in telesales. I wouldn't be at FFL if telesales wasn't a thing. I was doing telesales before for about a year and a half, doing health insurance. So for me, I was like, there's no way I'm going at home. That's just not me. I'm a pretty boy. I ain't trying to get, I don't like smoke. I don't like dirt. I don't like none of that stuff. So like, I'm not trying to be in that. Like I moved out of that to get a better life. I'm not trying to go back to it. So for me, I've always done telesales. And I think for me, I just, you know, it was never really a fear of the what if, right? I'm not fearful of that. I kind of have a different mindset. Like, and instead of what if, it's, you know, why not, right? I see successful people are doing it. Why can't it be me? So I never really necessarily had a fear, but I have dealt with people that have had that fear, and I talk to them constantly about it all the time, and you know, we're able to walk them through it and talk them through it to where they're okay.
I love it. I love it. So go back to what you're saying. So you got married young, you and Kennedy just started life, moved.
Yeah. So for us,
that led you to starting in sales in the first place.
Yeah. So I was 21. She was 19. We were ready just to travel the world, enjoy life together, young couple. Really had no idea where we were headed. And about a little over a year later, that's when my daughter came into this beautiful world, Lily. So that's when everything kind of really adjusted my mindset, because now it was no longer about my parents and making sure that they're good, or my wife's parents and making sure that they're good. Now we just brought a child into this world, and I want to provide her with a life that I could only have dreamed of. And I didn't have a bad life, but I didn't take a vacation till I was 17 years old. I didn't get on a flight till I moved to New York. I didn't do a lot of stuff because my dad just worked so much. So for me, I never did that. My vacations were AAU basketball, traveling, going here, going there. That's how I was able to see, you know, different cities, states, and, you know, other parts of the country. But I never enjoyed that, never got an opportunity to do that. So for me, when we had our daughter, that's when I was like, you know what? She's going to get the best life that I could possibly give her. And money doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot. So I knew I needed to start making some money and figuring some things out. So I at that point, that's when I started thinking about being an entrepreneur. Didn't just jump right into sales. I had no idea really what I was going to do. So me, I jumped into MLM because I was timid, right? I wanted to have my full-time job and do something on the side and then transition, like some people do with FFL. So I was doing MLM, and that's when I started to develop the mindset, reading books and learning more about being an entrepreneur and figuring things out and trying this, trying that. You know, not having that scarcity of, you know, failing, right? So that helped me with that. So I tried, you know, like Amway. I think everybody's heard of that, right? Like I tried that, didn't work. But it taught me a valuable lesson. Like, if you want something, you got to work for it. And I already knew that, but having to go to Walmart at 9 o'clock at night after you just worked a full day just to try to shake some hands and try to get some names and numbers, like, that's not easy. But I was able to do that. I was willing to do that. And I wasn't even making any money yet, but I saw a vision. So it made me become a visionary. It made me remember, like, it takes hard work. And in my head, if I'm willing to go to a job and work as hard as I possibly can for an hourly wage, why would I not work just as hard for myself? That's when I developed that mindset. So that helped me transition from there. You know, I was working at Waffle House. I was a general manager working 100 hours a week. But, you know, at the time it was decent money for us. I was able to provide and, you know, help out where I could.
Why Waffle House, by the way, of all places? I mean, did you like restaurant work?
That's a good question. So no one actually ever asked me that. I've never worked in a restaurant ever to that point. Like I was never like one of those 16-year-olds that worked at McDonald's. I never did that. I played sports. I would work, in the summer times with my dad doing lawn maintenance and stuff like that, but I never have worked in a restaurant. So the reason why I started working at Waffle House is because of the schedule. And I made pretty good money. Like you'll be surprised. As a GM, you're gonna make anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 a year. And I didn't know that. So I was like, man, I ain't working on a Waffle House. And then I found out about the money, but I also found out about the schedule. So the schedule was 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and you're off, right? So I'm like, man, that's perfect. Because at the time we had just my daughter. And I was training to go play basketball again for the last time. I was going to try to go play overseas. So this is when LaMelo
You
Ball.
still had some hoop dreams.
Yeah, for sure. So LaMelo Ball, he had just went to Australia, and they had like a huge thing where you could come and try out. And I was like, man, I'm at that time I was like 24, 25. So I'm like, I could still do it. Like, so I had a trainer, and so after I would get off, I would train with him. So I needed a schedule like that. So that's what I was doing. Then we found out she was pregnant with my son. And I was like, because she was down to move to Australia with me and live it out. And, I was going to make pretty decent money. I'm like, man, I could play basketball for 4 to 6 months, make $100,000. I'll do that, come back over here, work, whatever. So she was down to do it. But then when we found out she was pregnant with my son, I was like, I couldn't even do that to you. So that's when I had to shift my brain again. So that's when I shifted from Waffle House to get into sales. So I knew I just wanted to make as much money as possible. So I started doing my research. Who produces the most millionaires? Da, 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 da. I knew I had to get in sales. Didn't know where I wanted to start. Found something about health insurance. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. So I took my test, passed my test, and that's how I jumped into health.
Let me ask you this. I mean, did you consider yourself a sales guy? I mean, or you just say, you know what, whatever it is, I'm gonna crush it.
That's just my mindset. I kind of like Andrew Taylor. It's weird. I looked up that most people don't make it. So that intrigued me because I'm like, if most people don't make it, I'll be the one that will. And so I called one person that knew anything about health insurance in my entire family. And she wasn't a salesperson, but she worked for United Healthcare in a different field. But she knew like the salespeople did make money. So I called her. I'm like, yo, do these people really make money? She's like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, they can make a lot of money for sure. So I was like, all right, that's all I need to know. So I took my test, passed it, first try, jumped into a health insurance company. And, I won't say that I wasn't fearful, but I just knew like if I can bet on myself, I'm gonna win somehow, some way. So 100% commitment is definitely scary for sure, but I made that jump.
I mean, did you crush health insurance? I mean, was it apparent that you were almost like God's gift to the phones, or did you struggle, just go fast on it?
So my first few months I struggled because I was broke. I didn't have any money. So they didn't prepare us to tell us exactly how it was going to work. So I came in, did not know anything about anything. And then I found out I had to buy leads. Well, if you don't got money, how you going to buy leads?
Wait, so you had to buy your own leads at that
company? I had to buy my own leads. I had to buy
even at that company.
Come on. Yeah, with that company. I was at a 15% comp, by the way. 15% comp, had to buy my own leads. So the way I got leads is I used to call chiropractic offices, doctor's offices, like small doctor's offices, dentist offices, because they're small. And they would have to provide health insurance for their people compared to like a huge company. So I used to call them and I would ask them, were they hiring? They would say yes or no. But my real question was, do you offer your employees health insurance? So for the people that said yes, I would scratch them off. For the people that said no, I would show up the next day. I would try to sell the person that I was speaking to at the front, and then hopefully she would take the information to the boss, and then I'd be able to sell, more people. So that was my mindset. So I did that a couple of times, and that's how I got the money to be able to start buying leads.
Look at that. See, he figured it out. At the end of the
day. When you broke, you got to be innovative.
Come on.
You got to be. So if you're not, then you just, I don't know what to say, but you got to be innovative. You got to be creative. So I had to figure it out. I mean, I didn't have an excuse. I had to figure it out. But the crazy thing is, so I was talking to my brother, and he's really the one that encouraged me to get into sales. So he's not technically my brother, but we're really close. So I call him my brother. But he had started a roofing company, and he had done sales with roofs, and he had told me, he's like, man, with your goals, your aspirations, you got to get in sales. So I called him, right? I had been there for like a week. didn't make a sale because I didn't have any leads. And I was like, man, like I'm struggling. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay for rent. You know, I got a wife, 2 kids. Like I was really calling him to vent. I wasn't calling him like to get help.
You
But
mean the great Austin Jones? AJ was struggling, like for real,
I
for
was
real.
struggling. I was struggling. I didn't know how I was gonna pay for rent. And it was coming up. I think I had like a week to just figure it out. So I knew at some point I was gonna figure it out. But the last thing I wanted to do was call my parents, ask them for any money or anything like that. So I'm like, I'm gonna figure this thing out, but I didn't need to talk to somebody that will understand. So I called him, I told him, and he's like, how much is your rent? And I was like, it's like I think it was like $950 at that time. And he was like, if I send you $1,500, would that get you comfortable enough to be able to pay for your rent and still make sure you know you got food, groceries, this and that? I was like, man, don't send me no money. I'm good. Like I'll figure this thing out. And he's like, I'm sending you some money. It's $1,500 enough. I was like, that's more than enough, bro. So he sent me that, and that's literally that was like my wake up call. Like, okay,
That's what did it.
got this. That was my relief, right? So, got that. I was able to tell my wife, like, look, hey, rent's good. Now I can just get to work. So that's when I was like hitting it for real. And I just was going around and I had to make this thing work because I told him, like, this is the last time anybody ever gonna have to give me any type of money.
Was there a different level? I mean, obviously, when you're in the thick of it, you think you're doing the best you can. So
Yeah.
when he gave you that and that clicked, would you say your intensity increased? You were at a different level?
It was a completely different intensity. And the reason why is this. So during that week, I wish Kennedy was on the call so y'all could actually hear from her perspective too. During that week, as we're struggling, my wife is a worrier. Like it just runs deep in her veins. Her mom's is the same way, her grandmother, everybody. So she's at the house. She has faith in me, but I'm constantly getting these emails and these messages about like job opportunities. She's sending them all day. You should try this. What do you think about that? And I'm getting frustrated, but I'm like, dang, like should I? Maybe maybe this ain't gonna work out. Like maybe I should. Did I put my family in a bad position? So when he sent me that, it was like, oh yeah, now I'm good. Like it's time to go. I'm about to prove everybody wrong, including my wife. So that's when I just really was able to just kind of turn up from there.
I love it. Everyone needs an enemy, right?
Got to. I love the haters. I love the people that thinking that I'm not gonna do something. When I'm the type of person, you tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna go prove you wrong.
It's on.
So she was sitting there and she didn't know she was really fueling me. So she may have known. I don't know. Maybe she knows me and it was a mind game, but she was definitely doing that. So I was like, it was funny.
It's awesome. So you got started, you crushed it in health. I mean, you were one of the top guys knocking it out.
Yeah, so after that, right, first couple months it was decent, and then I just kind of took off. So my first full year in health insurance, I personally issued over 1.2 million.
Wow, that's awesome. So you crushed it. So
yeah,
how did it fail? So you got someone that's just crushing it in a different field-ish with health insurance. How did FFL come in the mix?
So I was doing well. I was making pretty good money. But my thing, I've always been a team player. I've always played sports, like I told you. I always was a team captain. I was always looking out for everybody else. I was never that person that was like, I don't care if we lose and my name in the newspaper, I'm good. I've never been like that. Like I could drop 40 and we lose and I'm pissed off as if I didn't even get to play. So for me, I was doing well, but I had a team full of people that were not. And I'm having to help them with their bills. I'm putting people in worse positions than they were when they came in. They would come in a decent financial position, and then when they would leave or quit, they were way worse. So I'm like, I can't do this. So for me, I told myself I would have to do two things. I would either have to just be a personal producer at that company and just run it up, or I needed to find an opportunity that I could bring people in and they could be successful. So I know I didn't want to be just a personal producer because I'm a team player. I don't find great happiness in just me winning. I like to see other people win and be a small part of it. So that's when, I heard about FFL. They had been trying to recruit me for months, but again, they weren't doing telesales. So come September, October, that's when Josh, my upline, started doing telesales, and the telesales thing started kicking off. And so when I heard about that, I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll do it now. Because the worst case scenario, I'm making 15% commission, right? Well, I got a promotion. I'm sorry. So I was at 19% commission. I'm like, if I can go over there, do the same thing at 100% commission, come on, man.
And you imagine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine.
Yeah.
So you get on board. Now, I'm going to kind of fast forward. Someone asks a question. I mean,
okay.
have you ever wanted to quit FFL?
Yeah.
And he mentioned when you wanted to quit, what you said you spoke. He said you spoke to Sean and some other leaders.
Right.
What is it that clicked, changed, that made you first want to stay and take off? And why did you want to quit? That's probably the first question.
Cool. So I guess I probably need to backtrack and explain how I got to that point. So same thing, came to FFL, didn't start off hot, right? Same thing. My wife sending me job opportunities again. Or no, actually now she wasn't really sending job opportunities. She believed in insurance, but she was trying to tell me that I shouldn't probably do telesales because it was new. And so many people were killing it here going in home. So that's what she was telling me. And I'm like, again, all right, I'm gonna show you. So I went in my office, put my headphones on, and just went out and tried to figure this thing out. So I focused on the controllables. I had 100 presentations. That was my goal. I wanted to get
These
to
were normally, were these special leads you bought going into this mix?
Nah. These were straight up instant 1 month. I ain't know anything different. I was brand new. It was my first month. So instant 1 month, 3 months. I really ran a lot of 3 months my first month because to me, I was used to running like older leads. And so for me, I'm like, they're $3, bro. Like I know I'm gonna work a little bit harder, but I'm okay with that to get a higher ROI. So
you didn't have a dialer? Were you just going to?
No, it was just me. It was just me. I didn't have a dollar. I didn't have anything. It was just me. And I really didn't have a script, didn't have nothing because Josh put out the script and all of that stuff. So I'm just learning, trying to figure it out from there, but I didn't really have any type of like guidance.
Yeah.
So I focus on 100 presentations, focus on controllables. That was what my focus was. And then at the end of that month, I helped 41 families. So financially, we were here way better than we had ever been. So I was like, okay, I made the right decision. From there, that was in like December of 2021. So December, that was my first month. The next month, January, cool. February, we go to the convention. We go to the conference, right? I get an opportunity to get on stage and speak. And, it was cool. It was a great experience. I got to meet people like you. Got to meet all these people. I remember meeting you like it was yesterday, bro. It was, you probably don't even remember, but it was the night before the convention actually started. We met, we chopped it up, whatever. So meeting people like you guys just really helped me to see like, man, these are people you watch on these podcasts. And if they can do it, you can do it. So I had a great first month. I did a podcast with Andrew Taylor, did a podcast with Grady Paulson. I spoke on stage with Grady in front of people. Everything I could imagine was happening. I was like, this is amazing. This is perfect. Like, I can't complain. Boom. Go to the conference. Come back from conference. Dead. Roll up dead. This, boom, boom. I'm like, what in the heck? What is this? I don't know what this is.
Because you didn't have roll up dead. You didn't have so much chargebacks in health, right? Not really?
Nah. You didn't ever feel it. Like we had whatchamacallit, like another account, and it would just take from that, and you never felt it on your paychecks.
Got it.
So now I'm like, roll up dead. Like, what is this? Chargeback, boom, boom, boom. It just all hit at once. So in my head, and at that time, I was speaking with another guy. I was trying to recruit him from a different company. He had worked at FFL, and I didn't know it. And he was a top producer at FFL, and I didn't know it. So he knew he was manipulative. And so he was kind of manipulating me and like, man, I bet you're going through this right now. And I was venting to him. I was just like, it started out me trying to recruit him, and then he kind of became a friend. And then he found that hot spot and was like, boom, he went in for the kill.
Right.
So I was like, man, forget FFL. Like, everything you were saying is true about FFL. Then I found out he used to be here. And I was like, dang, this dude played me. So I reached out to Sean, reached out to Andrew Taylor. They got me in contact with Josh. All this stuff started happening. And, I just kind of let them know where I was at. Sean was great. Sean, he was amazing, actually, how he handled it. Because I was literally on my way out. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't hear nothing y'all got to say. I'm going to a different company. And, he never pressured me at all. I don't deal with pressure. Don't pressure me into nothing. I'm one of those people like you try to tell me what I can't do, I'm gonna do the opposite. So he was great. And I was like, man, like,
was it more real talk he gave you, or did he ask?
It was all real. All of it was real. I never felt like I'm just another number, or he's more concerned with my numbers or me or my money that I helped make him. Like, he wasn't worried about none of that. He was worried about me as a human and said, look, at the end of the day, if you decide to leave, I would hate for you to leave, but you're a grown man. I can't tell you what to do, but just know I feel genuinely bad because you looked at this opportunity that I'm the CEO of as a better opportunity for you and your family. And unfortunately, this and that happened. And it technically wasn't even all your fault. But, all I can say is if you do stay, we're going to put you in the best possible position to win. We're going to make sure you're surrounded with the right people, and we're going to help you out and answer whatever questions you need and get you moving in the right direction. So, again, I was still like, I'm out. And my wife, she felt bad. Because she really encouraged me to come to FFL. She was the one sending me the videos and the Vivian, the Alondra, the Nina, the this and that. And she told me, oh, if you don't leave and go to FFL, I'm about to get my license to go to FFL. My wife ain't worked in 7 years. So for her to tell me that, I was like, man, you know what? Let me look into FFL for real. So that's honestly how I even got here. And so she felt bad. And then she also felt bad for me to quit on Sean and just quit in general. Cause it's like going back to me in college. Like you just kind of gave up on your dream of playing and you just shifted to playing B. Right now, you're really about to do the same thing. So we talked it out. And, I met up with Josh. We hung out. We met. We talked. We game plan with this, that. Met with Andrew, talked to him. Met with Sean, talked to him. And, at some point, it was just like, you know what? Like, these are good people.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't just quitting on the opportunity. You quitting on good people. You quitting on a great future that you have here. It's just another one of those things that happen. Like, are you going to – it's all in how you handle those situations. Are you going to just quit and move on? That's the easy thing. Or are you going to take adversity and go ahead first? So that's what I did.
You know what I heard is there's only 3 reasons people quit. They don't believe in the leadership, they don't believe in the company, or they don't believe in themselves. It's one of those 3. And if you can lock it like a chair, 3 of those down, you're solid. 2, but when did you know, or what was different once you talked to Josh that made you say, hey, I'm gonna do it different? Because we know the human mind will never start a journey you don't think you can finish. Going at it round 2, what is it about the round 2 that you said, you know what, let's go?
So like you said, I believed in myself. I believed in the company because I seen people winning, the leadership, right? So talking with Josh, again, he viewed me like a person, but he gave me the vision of the future. I, for one time, had a vision of how I can get from where I'm at to where I'm trying to get to. And it was learning from someone who's done it. So
are you talking strategy? I mean, he gave you numbers.
Everything.
Lay the map down, GPS location, coordinates.
The complete blueprint. Because at this time, you got to remember, Josh was the fastest to do 1 million. He did it in 9 months. And so at that time, he was probably at 1.5, maybe 2. And that was like a 1.5 years in. So I'm like, okay, this dude did it. He's giving me his complete blueprint because I'm the type of person, I want to know it all. Good, bad, the ugly. I will do whatever it takes. Just show me how to actually get there. And I don't want to hear from this person, that person. I want to hear from you. How can I do that? Because that's what I want to do. And he mapped it all out, and it made sense. I'm a logical person. I'm a numbers guy. He wrote everything out on the whiteboard. We went over multiple strategies from personal production to marketing to building to recruiting to developing, like every single thing, every facet of the business that it takes in order to be successful. And I had a blueprint on how to do it. And now all I had to do was go execute. That's all I've ever needed. I'm an athlete. Give me the ball. Tell me the plays to run. I'm going to go execute. That's it. I don't need nothing extra. I'm not one of those people, like I'm not listening to the coach. No, you tell me what to do. I got enough belief in you. We're going to go out here and execute and make it work. And then if we need to make adjustments in the meantime, we can. But that's it. So I've always been like that. And I finally had that coach to where it's like, it's all you got to do this. Now it's time to execute. So that's why I was,
that's what made the difference. Find leaders. Now I know we focus almost 30 minutes on setting the stage of finding leaders. Most folks are willing to work, but I will say this. I heard when you're getting into something, you do need a cheerleader, right? You had Kennedy helping you. And when you're in the game, you need a coach. But when you want to go to the next level, you need a strategist. I'm just talking someone who knows the numbers. I'm talking pinpoint accuracy. That's why these top LeBron, I mean, you name it, they have a coach to get to the next level, right? They're kind of fast forward a little bit. You start from scratch.
Yeah.
How did you build this thing so fast? I mean, the record you're breaking, craziness.
Yeah. I would say number one, like I told you, I got the blueprint, so I was just able to follow, right? Number two, all the stuff that we see that in this business that there's holes, we try to create a solution to where that's not going to be a problem for us and our agency. Telesales is not easy, but the biggest issue that most people have that don't do telesales, I would say, is their business runs them. They don't run their business, right? Because if you're in home and you're going here and there and doing this and that, you have no idea what your agents are doing. Whereas on telesales, on Zoom, the way we run it at least, we're able to see what you're doing at all times. I know if you're working, right? Then from there, that's the management side. But from there, we give our people actual game plan strategies and blueprints on how to be successful. Now you have specific targets to go hit, and you can keep up with it. You can track it, and also that allows me to track it and know where you're at and what you need in order to get to the next level. Right. So then when you have that, you got the leads, you got the strategy, you got the examples, and within the leaders, the first thing we had to do is find enough people and start developing those leaders. So now it's not just me, and now I can delegate, and allows me to really be able to just be in multiple places and multiple times. So that's what I would give it, say it is, but it could be more or less than that.
Sure. Let me ask you this. I'm a new telesales agent.
Yep.
I heard you guys do a lot of things, lock-ins. How do you get a person started? When do you involve them? Do you have them set a date initially, like a orientation, like a traditional job, or they fly in? Do you pay for it? Is it as needed? Like where is the commitment on the agent? And then of course, where do you guys come in?
For the lock-ins?
Yeah, lock-ins at 100%. Do you do that immediately or do you wait?
So for us, this is how we get you to a lock-in, right? So if I just hired you, for one, it's like a complete process for onboarding, right? You got to get your contracts, you got to do that in 24 hours. Once you do that, you go through the boot camp, 48 hours. Once you do that, hopping on Zoom, you got to shadow 10 presentations. Once you get that.
Let me stop you there. Someone doesn't get it done in 24 hours, doesn't get it done in 48 hours. Next, give them a shot. What?
No, I mean, let me know when you're serious. I don't got time, right? Like, let me know when you're serious. I'm the type of person that when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Right. So you committed to doing this in 24 hours or 48 hours and you didn't do it. Now, I'm big on communication. Things happen. Tell me, right? Oh, I caught a flat tire away from work. I had to deal with it today, so I can't get it done in 48 hours. Cool. I get it. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not going to tell you like it has to be like this. But if you communicate, we can figure it out.
Sure. Now, do you have them for the 10 presentations? I mean, you don't know when someone's going to be presenting. So do you have them literally book time for the whole day? Shift to lock in.
So you're going to be on Zoom. You got to shout out 10 presentations. We got 50, 60, 70, 80 people on Zoom. So there's presentations like this. So you should get it done and knocked out by the afternoon. We have a sheet that you have to fill out, every name of the person that you watch present. You got to take notes. Did they sell it? Did they not sell it? If they didn't sell it, why didn't they? And if they're in the office, which we have an office, they got to sign off on it. If not, word of mouth, I'll reach out, whatever. But it really is just an accountability thing. Shout out 10 presentations. After that, we go through the circle of life, which is the rules of the business. Go through that. Then we're doing a lead strategy call. Then we role play, making sure that your leads are uploaded in your CRM. We role playing, making sure that the first time you go through an application and not with an actual client, you do it with us. Handle a couple objections. Now you're prepared and ready to go. You have to have all that done in order to be invited to a lock-in.
Got it. So you don't have to have sold your first deal, but you have to have signed off and be ready.
Yeah, you got to get all that completed, because what I want is for when I show up to a lock-in that my leaders throw. I'll show up. Everybody has to have a CRM. They have to have leads. They can't like not have any of that. Like you have to have all that, but this lock-in is what's going to help you take it to that next level. So some people may have had a seller too. Some people may not. But the lock-in is where you're going to get the training, the skills, the this, the that to really help you take off. But really what you do is the work ethic.
And so you say, hey, this person, they are prepared. We got a lock-in coming up within X time. Mm-hmm. You set the date, they buy. I mean, are there any people, do they buy the tickets themselves, show that they believe, you buy them? How does that work?
Some people, it depends. Like if it's you and you're just in a bad financial position, and you're like, I can tell, like, this dude's going to crush it. He just literally can't afford to get there. I may buy your ticket.
Got it.
But you should have your leads, right? You should have bought your ticket for the most part. And also, even for the Airbnb, sometimes I get it, sometimes we all chip in. The more skin in the game you have, the more serious you'll take it. So this business isn't about, oh, well, I'm here, so let me spend all my money. Like, no, we're all run our own businesses.
Sure.
Let's be smart about our money. I don't mind helping because ultimately I do make some money off of you, but I'm also investing a lot of time and energy into you as well. So it just has to make sense for everybody. But we're not trying to have 30, 40, 50 people. You got 5, 10 people, couple leaders, train them up, get them going, and move on to the next one.
Move on. That's awesome. So, and during those lock-ins, is it everyone to themselves? Are you hovering? Do you assign each agent to someone to make sure that they got coach watching them all the time?
So it depends how many people is there. So let's say it's 10 people and 3 leaders. Well, we're going to divide them up evenly. Hey, you got this group, you got this group, you got this group. We'll switch every dial session or whatever the case may be. But I'm really hopping around because I don't really I ain't selling 50K a month like I was before, helping 50 families like I was before.
Right.
I'm more so, still doing what I got to do, but I'm also focused on building and getting this thing going. So I'm hopping around. They still see me sell in front of them for sure. But I'm hopping around and making sure like anytime you get somebody on the phone, I'm there so I can coach you. And then you got other leaders that are helping coach you as well. We got the trainings. You're able to see those leaders sell in front of your face at a very high level.
So you're selling too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
100%. Well, how many leads do you suggest someone buy for lock-in, which typically is 2 days, 3 days?
So normally it's 3 days. We'll do like a fly in on Sunday, do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then fly out on that Thursday. But for the lock-in, it depends on what your goals are. Some people come in and want to help 10 families in 3 days. Okay, cool. So your lead strategy is going to be a little different than somebody that's trying to help 5. Some people try to do 20. Like it really just depends. But the normal thing for us is you need to have at least 100 leads and you work those for 3 days.
Got it.
Then you buy your next batch of 100 leads.
Got it. So that's beautiful. Let's go into some practical questions. Someone's saying they're writing 20 to 30,000 a month. They're helping 20 to 30 families a month. Haven't been able to break past that. What are some things that you can help take them to the next level, or that they need to do to take the next level?
Like to get to like 40, 50?
Yes, sir.
I always tell people this: if you can help 20 families in a month, you can help 100. There's no difference. Like there's no special thing that you learn or this special skill that you acquired to help you get. No, if you can help 20, you can help 100. The only difference is the dedication that you're willing to put in and the leads that you're willing to buy. You spend more money on leads and you work a little bit more, guess what? You're going to get more results, because if you can help 20, the same skill set that it takes to help 20, you can help 100. It's just, are you willing to do the things that it takes? When I help 70 plus families in a month, or if I help 30 families in a month, the skill set had not changed. It's just, am I willing to go buy more leads? Am I willing to work more? That's it. That's it.
And then you flip it, right? The goal, when did you start recruiting? Some people, they're there, but they're kind of afraid that they don't know it all. Like, did you start immediately? Was that the strategy from Josh? And how did that look like?
I started immediately, and we would recommend that for anybody, because one thing John Whitmore actually told me when I met up with him is there's a complete difference in training and recruiting. And people, they mix those, they confuse those. They think, oh, well, I'm not here, I haven't done this and done that. And these people need me to be here so I can help them get there too. First of all, nobody needs you. Nobody. Like, especially somebody like me, I don't need anybody. Like, I helped 41 families with no help my first month. So I didn't need anybody. But what I will say is this: we have created a platform, a process that as long as you bring people into it, they're going to get trained. They're going to get trained. Not by you. You don't have to train them. You just bring them, and then they can get the training that they need. So your job is just to recruit people.
So you're just a surrogate father or mother.
That's it. That's it. So if I hire you, I'm telling you, me personally, this is what I do. I hire you, I'm going after your Fab 5. The same way we try to get 5 referrals on every single presentation that we do, I'm trying to get 5 referrals from you of your warm market. Hey, who do you like, love, or know that you think would do very well at this opportunity as well? I need 5 people. Let's get a group text with them and let's set up a phone call so that way we can bring them on as well. I'm going to put those 5 people under you. I'm going to train them. You ain't going to train them. I just hired you. I'm going to train them. Now you're going to make overrides you're going probably not to quit because you have now 5 of your buddies that's here. And guess what? Even if you quit, 2 or 3 of the people that I got out of the 5 are still gonna be here.
Facts.
Right? So that's my mindset. So I started recruiting from day one because I knew it's not up to me to train these people. They're gonna learn the same time I'm gonna learn.
Love it.
Everything I learned, they're gonna learn at the same time. So why would I hold myself back? And my mindset was honestly this, from a business standpoint. Okay, if you're telling me I need to spend $1,000 a week on leads in order to hit the type of goals that I want to hit, that's $4,000 a month. If I hire 5 people, put them at a little bit lower comp than me, I make some money off of them. That's going to replace the $1,000 that I'm supposed to spend to buy leads. Now I don't have to buy leads.
It's already taken care of. I love
my
it.
My overrides take care of it.
I love
that was my mindset. So I was like, it's a no-brainer to recruit from day one.
Now, if you recruit someone, or do you have anyone in your crew who they don't want to go telesales, they want to go in-home, what do you do in that situation? Or have you had that?
Good luck.
I love it.
Watch some FFL videos, because I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, I don't know. But most people, they know what I do and what I've done. So the odds of them trying to do something just completely opposite would just be weird. So most people, they're not even gonna attempt to do in home. I mean, some people have done it, but I just don't have any type of advice for you. I don't know. I went to one house and it did not work out. So you don't want my advice.
So you got folks that maybe they are experts, or they've been in home, want to transition to telesales. I'm talking today. Yep. What can you tell them to expect? I mean, how soon before they get their telesales plane off the ground?
So I always tell people, give yourself 30 days, right? Like, give yourself 30 days. It's going to be a transition. You're accustomed to doing something one way. Give yourself 30 days to get accustomed to doing it completely different. If you've done in person and been somewhat successful, you're gonna get the same results in telesales at some point. But you got to give yourself 30 days to have everything in place. I just had a guy, he had done nothing but in home. Came over, was petrified of the phone, because even in home, he didn't call to book his own appointments. He had someone else doing it. So he's never really been on the phone like that and was petrified. And I'm like, look, man, you just got to do it. And I'm encouraging him. I'm setting him up, making sure he knows exactly what to do. And he comes out and crushes it. Helped 30-something families the first month. So it's like, it's not that deep. It's the same thing. It's just over the phone. And to be honest, what I've heard and what I've seen, it's very easy in person to intimidate somebody. And most people are already very much so in the sense of they don't want to tell you no, not to your face. And then you leave, and then they call them like, I really didn't want this, but the guy wouldn't leave unless I got it, right? Whereas telesales, if they don't want it, all they gotta do is hang up.
Right.
They'll hang up on you in a heartbeat. So it's like, it's helping them with the chargebacks issues. Is keeping their their levels at a higher level as far as that goes. So they're not really having any issues with keeping people on the books and different things, which we train on all that too, because it is different. But I've seen people actually say, man, I'm having better results from doing telesales than in person. So I think if you do it the right way, man, you'll have whatever results you really want to have.
It sounds like you have to be much better in order to get clients. It really, you can't lose what you never had. So, sometimes you think you got them in home, but the reality is in telesales, you have to have won their trust. And if you won their trust, usually they keep it. Now, tell me this, when it comes to recruiting, what do you do? I mean, how has social media played a big role in that? And how do you do it?
Social media has played a huge role in recruiting. In the beginning, we didn't have a ton of content. So I was just reaching out to people, specifically captive agents, people that were working at these Lincoln Heritage, AIL, companies like that. And just trying to build a relationship. And then, at some point they're going to invite you in to recruit them. And so that's really, how I did that. But for me, when it comes to social media, it's always just anytime you look at my page, anytime you come by me, you're gonna see I am hiring, I am recruiting, I have an opportunity for you. So if you yell that at the top of your lungs, you're gonna draw people. So it's just about consistently every single day. People need to know AJ's hiring, AJ has an opportunity, AJ is recruiting people, and then you never know. It's just like a client. Like today they may not want life insurance, but then next week the family member died and now they need it. So for me, you may not be hireable today, but who knows, a week, a month, 2 months from now, when you go through something and now you're looking for an opportunity. If I'm not constantly being in your face, letting you know, hey, when that time makes sense, come work with me, they won't come work with me. But now it's like all they know is me. So it's like, all right, if anything ever comes up, I know one person I'm gonna go work with, I'm gonna go work with him. He looks like he's having fun, he looks like he's making money, he looks like he enjoys what he's doing. He's, down to earth. Like that's what I want to portray because that's me. So that's why I'm always on social media and just reaching out. And when I first started, I was sending 100 messages a day. If you've never done it, it will take a very long time. Not only to send the messages, it's going to take 2-3 hours, but also to respond to the people. My inbox was flooded with messages. And you're just constantly trying to keep in conversation with these people, and so that was my mindset. Just trying to build it and build it fast.
If you do 100 a day, there's no way you can fail. I mean, do it consistent for 30 days? How are you going to fail?
Exactly. So that's my mindset, right? So for me, it was like, okay, if I do 100 a day over a 30-day time frame, okay, I'm gonna have XYZ amount of people. If I divide that by only half of them actually respond, only half of them are interested, and only half of them actually start, and only half of them actually sell, I'm gonna recruit 10, 15, 20 people a month.
Right.
So there's no way. And now if I multiply that by 12 and start teaching these people to do it, we got to be at 1 million, within a year and a half, 2 years. We got to be there. So for me now, it's been April, May a year of being over here and doing this like this. So,
woo, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
We'll touch 1 million by the summer for sure.
Woo. Tell me this, the environment you've created on the Zoom, how is it? How did you create that? Like the culture of, okay, are people unmuting? How do you police that to make sure that things are popping all the time?
Everything's about expectations, right? Like, you got 10 kids, right?
Yes, sir.
You can tell me better than me. I got 2. So, but you set the expectations for your children on, these are things that are okay. These are things that are not okay. This is how things are going to be ran in my house. These are things that you will abide by in my house. And once you turn 18, do what you want to do. But if you're going to be living in my house, these are my rules. So these are the same expectations you have to set with these people when you bring them on. People forget. People need you. I don't need you. That you need me, right? Like, so I'm going to run this the way I'm going to run it, and you're either going to be okay with it or you're not. And I'm okay with either one. But this is the way our Zoom is ran because this is the culture that we want. This is what's going to help our people and the people that are willing to actually be involved and encourage it and be willing to do those things. Great. The people that are not, get off the Zoom. You're just a poison. So that's how you just set that expectation and you show them the results behind why the expectation is there. So if you see me unmute and you watch me help 40 plus families in a month and you see that I'm following the script, why would you not do it? Right? So now you got to get your leaders on board and it's uncomfortable. Then you get the new agents and before you know it, it's just second nature. Like everybody's just going to do it.
I love
it takes time for sure, but it starts out with, hey, you got to be the guy that's going to do it and then prove to them why it makes sense for them.
And 2 more questions. And man, we've been fed. FFL is not for everyone. Right. Just like anything isn't for everyone, right? And it's supposed to be that way, right? That's how God created it, right? Fish are supposed to fish, animals on land. Who is FFL not for? I mean, for anyone watching this, who is this not for? You shouldn't even come.
If you're not coachable, if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to work at this like you would be at a normal job, plus, it's not for you. I think It's hard to say. I can answer that more so for like my agency. It's not for you, right? Like FFL is FFL. It's a huge IMO. Everybody runs their agency differently. For my specific agency, if you're not coachable, if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to do the things that you say you're gonna do, right? Like everybody don't have to have the same goals. Just because I want to go hit Hall of Fame my first year, if you're okay with doing 50, 100K, 100 families in a year, that's your goal. I'll give you a blueprint to get there, but that's your goal, right? So as long as you're willing to show up and do the things that you say you're gonna do, be coachable, be fun, right? Like this is a fun environment. This business sucks. It's not easy, but when you're around the right people that enjoy being around each other, it makes it a lot better. So I think if you're not those things, just keep doing your thing. I mean, this business is not easy. It's simple. It's not easy. Some people are meant to be employees, and that's okay.
Truth. What about agents maybe that are crushing in health? We got a lot of them. They don't even know that this world exists. You are absolutely crushing it. What would you say? Why should they come over to do something better?
To be honest, it's not as big or steep of a transition as you would think. I was petrified of life. For one, I was told life insurance people didn't make money. Oh, you make way more in health, which is completely opposite. I don't know why they say that. Health insurance is for the residuals.
Mm-hmm.
Life insurance is the upfront advance money.
Gotcha.
So if you really want to stack, that's why you should come here. So for me, it's not about doing this forever. Use this vehicle to get you where you really want to go, whether that's real estate, whatever. Use this vehicle, stack up as much as you can, build a nice business, going to pay you forever, and take that and do what you really want to do with it. So it's a 2-year run, 2-year sprint. If you're willing to run for 2 years and know that, man, in 2 years, if I really go all in,
sacrifice. I'm talking sacrifice, right? All in, miss birthdays if you need to. Not, whatever you got to do.
For sure. It definitely takes a sacrifice. Because, I mean, where we at and what we've gotten to in a year, it takes a lot more people 5 years to get there, right? 3 years to get there. But we've gotten there in a year. But 2 years, who knows what we'll be. And, that just comes with the sacrifice, the constant pushing, the all of that, the stuff that people don't want to do. I'm willing to do that for 2 years. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in November. And, April will make 2 years of being here, and my family will never have to worry about money. We're creating that generational wealth for my 2 children so they can pass it down to their 2 children and so on and so forth. So if you're willing to actually go out and sprint for 2 years, health insurance, life insurance, real estate, I don't care what position, company, business you're in, come over here, do it here, 2 years, and then go do whatever you want to do. Come make as much money as you can. This is the best opportunity to be able to do that, the best vehicle to get you there fastest. And if you're willing to go do that, that's why you should come over here.
Game time. Last question, and we'll call it good. Dial strategy. What is the dial strategy you have for folks just to get going? Is it different depending on who you are, or is it, like Josh says, go on shifts, 8 to 11, 1 to 4, same strategy?
Yeah. So what we do is we call them, I don't know, it's not technically just based on dials, but we have dial sessions. So the first dial session, typically 8 till 11, take a little break. So same thing that we do at the lock-ins, take a break from 11 to 12. We hop back on from 1 to 2. We do our training. And then for 2 to 5, another dial session. So the goal for us is specific targets. In each dial session, you should do at least 300 dials. If you do that, then that means, hey, you won, right? Because now I know you worked. So you should do that twice a day. So that's $600 minimal a day. Or if you get 2 presentations, that's a win. Why? Because maybe you may not do $300 because you had 2 presentations. Maybe it took you an hour on each presentation because you're new. So that's 2 hours of 2 hours of time that you didn't get to spend on the phone that you got to spend on an actual presentation. So that's a win because I can teach you how to turn those presentations into sales. And then ultimately, if you get a sale, then that's a win. So that's how we break them up. You do that twice a day, $600, 4 to 5 presentations a day, 1 to 2 sales a day. That's the goal. 25 presentations a week. That's how we kind of have our targets. And, we found that you should have great success if you do that. You should have 10 to 15 families a week, to be honest.
Wow. Hey, you are. I'm excited to see what records you're going to break. The family's going to help. I mean, the generations you're going to change, and starting with you. Appreciate you, AJ. And I know a lot of people have questions. There's so much content out there. Just search AJ Austin Jones FFL, and you'll see all the stuff that you were asking that weren't asked. He got it. And I appreciate you, AJ. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.